Hello everybody, and welcome back to the Farming Simulator 25 map guide. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Owendale. But before that, this video is brought to you by Desert Ox Farms and Charlie Farmer. Thank you for being farm barons. So the Owendale map can be found over at Northern Michigan mapping.itch.io, and I will have a link to that down in the description below. Now, as a result of this being released over on itch.io, it is, as of the current release, available for PC players only. But I do know that the map author is working to bring this to the Giants Mod Hub and hopefully to console players as well. I just don't know how long that might take. Let me read you some of the description. Welcome to Owendale, Michigan. And then I like this a little bit. We get a little background on the area. In 1882, as 3 new rail began to lay track in Huron County, 2 cousins from Saginaw, Michigan, John G. and John S. Owen, bought land in the Columbia Swamp. I got some swamp land to sell you. The following year, they opened a sawmill to harvest the native oak. John G. Owen hired Quincy Thomas, a civil engineer, to survey a town site in 1887. The streets and alleys and parks were dedicated to the public for their perpetual use, and the village of Owendale was born. The sawmill burned in 1896, and the Owendale area turned from lumbering to agriculture. Now, this is the map author's very first map that he's done for FS25, and I have to say, he's done a pretty darn good job, and I think a lot of players looking for a traditional North American style map will really dig this one. He's got some credits here, so let's go over those. Taylor Farms for the base game map. J. Dunn 1019 for helping him on some projects. Farmer Pierce for guiding him. Winston for the Owendale store sign to light up. Profuse Ice 2023 for helping me with intersections and traffic splines. Max Store Gaming for helping when I needed help. iCans Fan Modding for letting me use his buildings. Also, Patty iCast created 2 real buildings for the area, Pioneer Dealer and the Case Dealership as well. We have Salbuki for the grain dryer, Snake Bizzle for the fire station, that almost looks like real life, and LJR modding for a couple of buildings like No Creek Farmhouse and the Co-op Fert Shed. This map has not been tried in multiplayer, but I don't see any reason why it would work. And just an FYI, when owning the first farm, you need to buy the grain dryer to make the grain dryer work properly. When you store your regular grain in the dryer, it will not show in the silo info area. If you have dried products, they will show. So it's suggested if you want to store dry, non-dry products, use a regular silo so that information will show up. Now, as of the initial release, this map is looking at a total download size of 737 megabytes, and it does not have any required mods. If this is your first map downloading on itch.io, downloading it is pretty darn simple. Just click on the link down in the description below, click on this nice orange or red download button, and it's going to take you to a page that says thanks for downloading. Oh, and by the way, it's already downloaded the map, and you're good to go. Then go ahead and move that download into your mods folder, fire up Farm Sim 25, and you're off to the races. With that said, let's jump back over here to the map. If we take a look at the PDA, you're going to find, as I mentioned, since this is a North American style map, being that it's based in Michigan, in the United States, we're looking at mostly rectangular fields. Kind of the most irregularly shaped field here is going to be 23, with a couple notches cut into it. We'll have to take a look at this. This might be a little drainage ditch, but I'm not sure if you can buy the land or not. And if you can, then you could probably landscape that out. Any rate, our starting farm is over here to the east, farmland ID 34. If you do not own the starting farm at the start, you will have all of your starting machinery regardless, and the farm will be built out exactly how you see it here. We do own it at the start, and you can buy this for $11,596. Pretty darn cheap. We also start up owning farmland ID 9 and farmland ID 8. Those are our 2 starting farms, our starting fields, and those are 25.73 acres and 45.21 acres in size, respectively. There's two other farms available on this map. We have a small farm at farmland ID 33 for $5,295. And then we have a third farm in the extreme northeast corner, farmland ID 35 for $12,710. Other important things to note on this map. We do have a construction mission in that we do have the Grain Elevator Museum that is a part of the Riverbend Springs map. So we can also restore the museum here on this map as well. This map also does include the Riverbend Springs collectibles. So when you do collect those will go into the museum. This map does include all the standard crops available to us in Farm Sim 25. In addition, we have also access to alfalfa as an additional crop. With respect to the Precision Farm soil map, we are making use of the Riverbend Springs soil map. It is the generic soil map that is a part of the Precision Farming mod. So let's go ahead and see how that is being applied to these fields. This soil map is very, very recognizable, again, because we have the loamy sand that does kind of follow what would have been the path of Riverbend Springs River. And there we can see how that is being applied and what our soil types look like across the various parts of the map. We are looking at our standard FS25 crop counter on Owendale, with the addition, of course, of alfalfa. If you do have a crop counter enabled, you're going to be able to plant alfalfa March through November, and you're going to be able to harvest year-round. With respect to animals, the default starting farm does not have any animals pre-placed, but there's plenty of room to put that down if you wish. And with respect to contracts, we do have contracts available, and we do have the new FS25 contracts in rock removal, wood transport, and dead tree cutting. With respect to productions, this map has 9 productions pre-placed at the main starting farm. As was mentioned in the description, we do have a grain dryer. Do note the grain dryer will require propane as well in order to operate. And there we're going to be able to dry barley, canola, corn, oats, sorghum, soybeans, sunflowers, and wheat. So all of our traditional grains. We also have access to a bakery, carpentry, the grain mill, the Owendale dairy, the sawmill, the spinnery, the sugar mill. Do note the sugar mill is only configured to work with sugar beets. And then we also have access to the tailor. We do not own any productions at the start. With respect to sell points, I counted 7 different sell points scattered around the map. We'll take a look down through our starting equipment here in a little bit, but do note that we have the forklift, and this forklift is over at the vehicle shop. It's coming up as a leased item. I certainly hope that we're not charged $1,700 a month for this if we can't return it. That's something we're going to have to check out when we get around to looking at the vehicles. With respect to collectibles, as I mentioned, we do have those 25 Riverbend Springs collectibles that will ultimately reside in the museum. Now, as far as our start farm goes, well, this is where we start out when we load into the map. Got a nice farmhouse. Gonna be able to go into and check out a little bit of baseball going on. Do have a fully functional garage. And I will admit, I didn't scope this farmhouse earlier, so where the sleep trigger is, it's a bit of a guess. Oh, we got a football game going on in here. So a very nice farmhouse. And then with respect to our grain dryer, we have that located here. Again, we're going to have to buy the grain dryer if we wish to make use of it. We have our propane fill point there, and well, what's this? Well, there you go. There's one of our collectibles. So we have our output for our dryer, we have our dump point, and our interactive icon for our dryer as well. Oh, there you go. You only have to find 23. Nice long storage shed there. We do have a storage silo also for liquid fertilizer up here at the far northern part of the farm. Everything on this farm can be sold with the exception of the grain dryer, because of course you do not own the grain dryer, but if you do go and buy the grain dryer, then you will also be able to sell that. So in essence, everything you own at the farm can indeed be sold. I love it when we have usable buildings on these farms. So there we have those. Pretty straightforward. And that should pretty much be the starting farm machinery, or the starting farm area. Let's go ahead and take a look at the starting machinery. With respect to our garage menu, we start out with the Case IH Farmall 100C small tractor. We have the Case IH Puma 260 CVX drive medium tractor. We have the Case IH Magna 400 Pro power drive and the Case IH Steiger 715C or 715 quad track trend here. We have the International CV Series truck, as well as the International Train Star and the Mack Truck Superliner 6x4 trucks. We have the International Series 200 pickup and the Skoda vehicle. With respect to front loaders, we have the Case IH L630, and then we have the universal bucket for the front loader. We also have access to the Kubota SVL97 2 skid loader, and the skid loader also has a bucket. We have the J&M Extend Reach 1112 auger wagon. We have the FarmTech EDK 650 trailer, and then we have the Brandt Beaver Tail low loader and then module there. We also have the Load King Distinction triple hopper semi grain trailer. We got the Kinsey Mach Till 412 disc harrow and the Pottinger Servo T6000 plow. We have the Kinsey 405 Blue Drive planter. And then for our harvester, we have the Case IH Axial Flow 7150, and that's going to be paired up with the TerraFlex 28-foot grain header and our Nardi N30 header trailer. And then we also have an 8-row corn header. And then we wrap up all of our starting machinery with the Thunder Creek Equipment FST 990 fuel trailer. Now, with respect to leased equipment, we have that forklift. And can we return it? It looks like we could return it. So I don't want to return it right now because I want to show you where the forklift is, at least, before we get into that. With respect to mods and DLCs, this map does have 2 custom trailers included with it. They have been set up to haul the propane. We also have methane available for transport on these, as well as our goat milk, buffalo milk, and we also have water, liquid fertilizer, and herbicide. I guess that's buffalo milk. That's cow milk. Because buffalo milk comes in pallets. Let's go ahead and take a look at the 2 other farms that we could have available to us. So down here, farmland ID 33, which is going to be in the southeastern part of the map. This is going to be an arable farm. And here we have our farmhouse with our sleep and wardrobe trigger. Got a few nice sheds. This particular shed does have a workshop trigger associated with it. We have a fuel tank, liquid fertilizer storage, and then 2 grain bins. And of course, our bins, we're going to need to use an auger in order to fill and retract or extract grain. As you can see, this map is flat. So, never been to Michigan to know how realistic that is, but I would assume that that is a fairly accurate representation of the area. Something else that I'm really surprised at, and I guess you could say happy about, is the distance scenery lines up pretty darn good with respect to the roads on the map. So you do get a sense that the map continues on. Would have been nice to have seen that line up a little bit more, but I can understand how that might have been difficult to get lined up. Here to the northeast, we have the third farm that is available to players. So if you do this in multiplayer, you'll have your farmhouse here. We've got a few sheds. We have bale and pallet storage located right here. And a nice little barn. And then 2 grain bins. Again, everything at all of these farms can be sold, assuming you own the land. Let's go over here and check out the Grain Museum. As I said, this is a grain elevator museum from Riverbend Springs. And if you do deliver product to this, well, you can restore the grain elevator to its former glory. And in order to do that, of course, you're going to need to bring 36,000 wooden beams, 48,000 planks, 72,000 long planks, 12,000 roof plates, 12,000 prefab walls, 6,000 units of cement, and 6,000 units of cement bricks. Let's go ahead and pull up the map at this point. Come over here and start taking a look at our sell points. One of our sell points is here at the school. I assume this is going to be the high school because we have the Owendale Wolverines. Right, we have their baseball field. We have a football field over here as well. I do like how we have, well, we had, they must disappear when certain time comes in. We had school buses lined up here in front of the school, but I guess 9:30, the buses have left. So that's an interesting, cool little touch as well. So we have our dump point for that particular sell point. We have a farmer's kiosk sell point located right here. We do have various AIs just kind of hanging out. In fact, this is Walter's nice little farm. You can see he is a supporter of the local football team. Here we have our Case IH dealership, the Owendale Equipment Center. Really nice touch there. Let's go ahead and pick up the vehicle. Just see where things spawn. Very large parking lot for our vehicles to spawn at, and also very large area for us to get out of. Now let's just check. I didn't look. So this is not buyable land. Wish this kind of was buyable land, this empty plot right across the street from the dealership. Then here we have that forklift that I mentioned that is leased, but it does look like we can come in here and get rid of our leased forklift if we wish to no longer have that cost associated with us. Further down from the dealership, we're going to find the ability to buy lime. This is where we're going to find the ability to buy our propane for our dryer. And then we also, interesting enough, have access to this shed. And then inside here, we're going to be able to buy consumables like seed and fertilizer. We've got access to our production grain mill located right here. So we have our dump point, our pallet point, and our interactive icon is down there below. And then right next to that, we have the Owendale Co-op. That's going to be a grain sell point inside there. Maybe we can get that corrected for the console release. We also have access to a warehouse for buying any goods that we may need to use to build out our museum if we can't make those for any reason. We have our pallet spawn point, and then we have our sell point for our warehouse goods. Don't forget to stop by Moving Power Gas for your fuel needs. The small town would not be without a bowling alley. And then further down here, we do have our carpentry. We have our dairy production. And we have our sawmill. So just a little sawmill now, because the area is focused on agriculture. Nice residential area here. And then up here along the main drag, we're going to have some stuff. We've got a firehouse. So this is mentioned in the description. And if we come here, we do have two kind of icons denoting points of interest. We have the volunteer firehouse, and we also have the fert and seed shed. So those are denoted here on the map. We have our spinnery just down from the firehouse, as well as our tailor. And then our bakery is also right across the street. Our animal dealer is just up the side street from the bakery. So we have our animal buy dealer here. If you'd like to see me some animated animals, we have our bale sell point. We have our buy point for slurry and manure as well. We're going to have our farmer's market sell point for palletized goods and grain. And we're back to our grain mill. Here we have our sugar mill. And again, remember, this has been configured exclusively for sugar beet. You're not going to be able to make sugarcane sugar here in Owendale, Michigan. And folks, that's a wrap for this particular map, really, because all the way to the north, it's all going to be agricultural fields. And then all the way on the western side of the map, it's all agricultural fields. Overall, you should be able to merge lots of these fields together, because a lot of these roads up here are just kind of painted in. I did want to check. The land between the ditches, and specifically farmland ID 23. So we do not appear to have the ability to merge that together. Is a little bit of a shame, I guess. Now, I did also note that there is farmland ID 32. And I was kind of hoping that farmland ID 32 could be something where you could buy it and, well, evict the family that's living here and tear this down, because I think this would have been a prime spot for a fourth possible player farm. Kind of buy the land, evict the house, put your own sleep trigger down, and then clear up the trees, clear up the rocks, and then have access to that. But when I bought it, I wasn't able to sell the farm or sell the house. So there's that. But here we go. Big old field 23. AI shouldn't have too much issue whatsoever in working this field. We got a nice hunting blind going on here. And you never know, you might just find yourself a deer. Kind of hanging out here at certain times of the year as well. Let me know your thoughts down in the comments below with respect to Owendale. I think this is a smash out of the park with respect to the map author's initial map for FS25. I do wish him the best of luck on any future mapping endeavors that he should take, and I do hope that he has the best of luck in getting this map released for console, because I think console players are going to just gobble this thing up. Now, as we close out with the credits, I did want to mention that with respect to low-end performance, this map plays extremely well. I would get frame rates anywhere from the mid to upper 30s to 50 plus FPS. And again, that's using my low to medium, or my medium custom settings with FSR enabled. And as such, we're looking at frame gen. So we're looking at 70 to 100 plus FPS. Until next time, happy farming.